Hello and welcome to today's live stream. Today, we're excited to have our experts here to talk about the state of hiring for Microsoft Dynamics experts, given everything in today's job market. So, we don't want to delay. We'll kick it off right away, and I will turn it on over to our speakers to introduce themselves.
Hi, thanks for everyone joining. My name is Leaha Pearman, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for Customize 365. I'm located in Georgetown, just north of Austin, Texas, and loving the heat here right now. One of the reasons that Customize 365 came about is because our founder and CEO was on a buying journey, and he went through an entire process of choosing a vendor for their CRM, and it was a painful process, and he wants to make that easier. And so he and I engaged together to customize 365, and we look to streamline that process to make that much easier for you, and because we understand that journey. And so that's why we're here today with Sevi to talk about his company as well as they face challenges for hiring in today's market. Sevi?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Once again, my name is Sevi over at DASS Recruitment. We specialize in helping end users and partners get access to the right Microsoft Dynamics talent. Been doing this for quite a while now, and yeah, looking forward to this conversation.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. So I think we should just dive right in. We should talk about what the biggest challenge for hiring Microsoft Dynamics experts is. Microsoft has a statistic that says there are 3 billion with a B, licenses worldwide, and yet there are only 20,000 experts qualified to service those licenses. Sevi, that sounds like a really big problem that I think we should talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I speak with hiring managers, the biggest thing is it's always a lack of available talent. So for instance, if a hiring manager, when I speak with them, they post a job board and they get inundated with unqualified resumes, or alternatively, if they do find a qualified candidate, someone who has that Microsoft Dynamics experience, whether it's ERP or CRM, that person is going to get multiple offers just because there is like a huge demand for that specific project or person. So when it comes to hiring, right, we're looking at you either hire directly, like I talked about before, or you go contract it out to an independent contractor, work with a partner, or have a hybrid of those options. And what we tend to find, especially when it comes to hiring, you're not really going to school right away to become a ERP or CRM expert. So it is difficult to get access to folks, because most often folks who are qualified, they already are employed and they're not actively looking on the job boards, which is the case here in a candidate driven market in Microsoft Dynamics.
That sounds like there's going to cause some problems. I imagine that there's some statistics around projects being delayed or just things being missed completely. It sounds like a cumbersome process. Do you have any great facts that you can share with everyone today about what's happening in the market when there are no experts available?
Yeah, so something that Deloitte had mentioned was like 58% of projects related to Microsoft Dynamics end up getting delayed, and that's due to a lack of available talent. So when I speak with partners, they're also constrained as well on having in-house talent. Some partners are, they're absolutely crushing it, having a good busy season. Others, it's kind of feast or famine. So often they do have like a in-house shortage of expertise, so they rely on subcontractors or their network to get people. But yeah, a lot of times projects do get delayed because it's a very specific type of knowledge or experience that these customers need, and because of the lack of available talent, the ones who are working on projects, they are stretched thin. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're running into right now in the market.
That's interesting. I had a statistic too that for most small and medium-sized businesses, 40% of those businesses don't have any staff. And other than typical IT system admin, so a person who is stretched thin, just like you said, and who wears multiple hats in the organization. So I think it's a problem that's going to continue to evolve as this generation of tool belt, Gen Z tool belt people who have chosen to not go to school for other fields. They're going into tech fields. great for the CMMS people of the world. The facilities management people are super happy that there's going to be more people servicing HVAC. But what does that mean for the technical side? How do you think this will continue to evolve? Tell us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I'm seeing an interesting shift in talent being developed in the Microsoft Dynamics space. And what I mean by that is I've noticed that there are programs out there that allow people to get upskilled in the middle of their career. So you don't really go to, like, as I mentioned earlier, you don't really go to school to become a CRM consultant or an ERP consultant. In recruiting, I always talk to candidates who are, and I always ask them the question like, hey, so how did you get involved? Like, how did you come across this? And the normal story is like they come through, they were working at a company and they were implementing Microsoft Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM, Dynamics Nav back in the day, and they really liked the implementation process. So as an end user, they got that experience and they really enjoyed it. So they moved into consulting. Now, fast forward now to today, there is I would say a gap of available folks, especially people like earlier on in their career. So for example, like the bigger firms, the bigger consulting firms like Accenture, Deloitte, PwC, Capgemini, they're investing in early career programs. So now they're making more of an intentional effort to upskill and train early career professionals so that they do have a long-term career in the space. And to be candid, this is a very fruitful career. So if you are choosing to invest in becoming a consultant or get experience in the field, you will have access to a lot of different opportunities. It's just being aware of it. So what I'm seeing now, again, a lot of top tier firms, consulting firms are investing in getting early career programs up to speed. Other nonprofit programs such as TechFluent, they are investing in upskilling middle of career professionals. So folks who have had an entirely different career prior to going into the ERP consulting game or CRM consulting game. In this case, like for Microsoft and Dynamics, you will see more programs or consulting firms, like again, investing in early career professionals or getting folks who are middle of career, just trying to create a career within the ecosystem. And once you're in it, there's a lot of community involvement and access to different opportunities. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing right now. I mean, I think especially after the pandemic, a lot of companies are moving their digital transformation initiatives up an average of 6 years almost, and it's only going to continue to rise. So I think I read somewhere that in 2024, currently the digital transformation market size is around 1.4 trillion with a T.
Wow.
And then by 2029, we'll see it compound increase 4.4 trillion. So I think there's going to be a significant investment. But to your point, it's all about like awareness of like it being a potential career. So you will see a generation of folks who opt in for the trades, like you mentioned. So I think now it's like we're just like, hey, how can we make or increase the awareness of this being an option for folks and getting them upskilled so that they do have like that long, fruitful 20, 30-year career in the digital transformation space.
Yeah, just to reiterate, I think it sounds really important to say it's that no one sat around the dining room table as a teen and talked to their parents about becoming a CRM consultant, right? That they talked about becoming doctors and lawyers and what have you. But as you said, it's a very lucrative career with 3 billion licenses and only 20,000 available experts. That sounds like a pretty high demand. And it sounds like because of the gap, because of the tool belt generation colliding with the silver tsunami of our retirement age folks, what does that mean for our options for hiring for these roles?
Yeah. So as far as, and I like the way you described it, because I do speak with on the candidate side of things, I speak with a ton of people who are approaching that retirement age, and they are either at the tail end of their, I would say employment career, or they're looking into contracting. So the options that we typically look at is, let's say if you're looking to hire for these roles, is, go direct. You want to build a team, build something in-house. As a customer and end user, you could hire directly, right? Go through a contracting, but so with contracting, it's interesting because it's like, who do you know? You don't necessarily, I don't see often like folks talking to each other. In the Microsoft Dynamics community, it is rather small, and like there are events out there that people can attend to build a network. But unless you're working with a recruiting specialist who knows like the project-based contractors who are available and willing to work at the budget that you're looking at, it's going to be tough. Let's see what else. So you have contracting, hiring directly. You can work with a consulting firm, right? Having the access to a team of experts, but that also is costly. I spoke with a CIO earlier this morning, and he was sharing that they're spending close to multiple seven figures a year on their consulting services. On the other hand, if you do choose to go in-house and like try to do only things in-house, it takes a ton of time to find the right talent. Again, if you're not looking or working with a recruiting specialist, just because like they're leveraging their network of that hard to find, hard to get talent. If you're looking at contracting, again, it's about who you know. So it is tough out there, I would say. But then again, kind of to your service and like kind of what that entails, I think it's great, right? To name a few things, like practice on demand, you have access to like a ton of experts. I used to work at a IT consulting shop, which did go off that fixed price model. So like controlling costs more effectively that way. So we can take time to talk about that as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good segue for what Customized 365 was, its inception and why it's here. We came up with this concept of practice on demand. I talked to just briefly in the intro about our president and CEO going through the buying journey of a CRM and ultimately choosing Dynamics. And the inflexibility, right, that comes with not having someone on staff, someone that gets poached because they're in demand, having someone who's stretched thin, having only two or three people on your team and they don't have the skill set that you're looking for, or they're pulled in other directions. And so how do you solve for that and still meet your business demands? So your sales team wants 7 new fields and they need them yesterday because they're going to be, their metrics are going to be measured. And the new leader comes in, a new CRO or a VP of sales, and says, I want 7 new reports. How do you manage that demand? And we were encountering that quite a bit. And so we came up with this idea of practice on demand, which, as you said earlier, is a team of Microsoft Dynamics experts. That's all that they do. With that is a low monthly fee that comes static. So you know exactly what you're paying every month. So you don't have those ups and downs with those budgets and those expensive people. The recruiting process, the onboarding process of time is no longer a factor as well. We're there when you need us. And you can engage with limited time requirements, a small project, or you can do this long term as well and say that we want someone to be available to us every month, whenever we need it, every 2 weeks, every sprint that you have, we need to do updates. And so practice on demand was born from that idea of that reflexivity and being able to be responsive to your business demands. It delivers virtually limitless no-code, low-code updates, which is something that you would have to upskill one of your current employees to do, or pay that high price for those experts that are available. And it also allows you to deliver quickly. So when you have those demands in your business that you're trying to meet, it helps. It helps a lot. You can engage on a limited project, or you can do something that's a monthly fee set for a year, 3 years. It's completely up to you. We're open to hearing about how we help you keep your business moving and on demand. What happens if you're in the market right now? What should people be doing right now in order to future-proof their business?
Yeah, I think it's, well, again, when I speak with hiring managers and they are looking to hire, they have to post on the job boards, right? It's like you avoid the recruiting fee and you avoid having it. Yeah, again, it's very expensive, and I totally get it. But I think talking to different experts in the field allows you to evaluate your options more critically. So what I mean by that is, if you talk to a recruiting specialist, especially with someone who has a a network of Microsoft Dynamics professionals available, that will allow you to, again, kind of size up what's available to you. So yes, you can hire directly, but you might be spending a ton of time interviewing. You might not find the right people. It could be, and then again, you might get stretched thin in the process. If you're on the market, I would heavily consider, you're talking to practice on demand like Customize 365. Again, contractors, they are an option as well, but I think what I liked about the model that Customize 365 does offer is it's a one-stop shop, right? So you have the flexibility to change as you want, and again, get access to the right people, and you're controlling costs pretty well. You're not thinking about like okay, if I add 3 FTE, 3 full-time, 3 FTE or 4 FTE, that's going to exponentially increase my cost. With a model like this, you know what you're paying for, but then you can also scale up or down while you have it. So
yeah, that's an excellent point, and I appreciate that. I'm thinking about times that businesses acquire other businesses. Mergers and acquisitions are happening all of the time, and one of the last things you want to be thinking about during that process for the business owners is, what are you going to do with your CRM? What are you going to do with your ERP? How is that going to integrate smoothly? We help with that. Your whole team has turned over for whatever reason. It's a demanding job market. What does that look like in terms of training? I read that 75% of all system implementations fail because of user adoption. So one of the other things that Customize 365 does is help with that training, that turnover that you might be experiencing, or that merger and acquisition that you might have in your business plan. And what does that look like in terms of a smooth transition? And of course, everything needs to be completed like yesterday, right? Everything is this more, fast. I think it's a great conversation to continue to have. Laura, do we have any questions in our chat about what we do and what we're doing for next steps?
So let me take a look and see. It looks like we don't have any that are submitted, but I think as we wrap up today, it might be good to kind of have one lasting summarized comment from each of you, just given the discussion. And I think there's been a lot of great data and statistics that have been shared, but I think, for everybody who's attending, what do you think is the number one thing that they should walk away with? And Leah, will kind of have you kick it off.
Yeah, for sure. And that's great. Thank you again, everyone attending and viewing the live stream. We really appreciate it. Most important for me today was to have the conversation, which was to say that this is a real problem that's out there. It's statistically backed. It's something that we're encountering. It's something that's not really talked about because, again, with the generational changes we've had, with COVID happening, there's so many things that have impacted our work life and our work structures and what we're doing that you have to be responsive to it. And so super grateful for the conversation about how we're tackling this big problem in the industry. And then the second thing for me was about education, kind of just making sure that the audience knows what's happening, that there are people addressing it, that between Sevi and me and several other companies as well, that we're recognizing this problem and saying, how do we adjust? How do we be flexible and make this happen so that we can all be successful in our careers? And then finally, a call to action. I am certain that some of those things that I mentioned, those new fields, the transitions, those are happening in businesses every single day. And sometimes they just get glossed over because they're like, well, we'll figure it out. But we're your partner to help you figure that out. You don't have to put it on the back burner. We can be there for you, very responsive in a very quick amount of time. And your business doesn't have to be disrupted just because of a talent problem. We can be that talent for you. So that was really important to me, the conversation, the education, and the call to action.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's one key learning that we've learned over the past couple of years, ever since COVID, is, there's been so much innovation that has happened since then. And I think part of that is we don't do things the way that we always did before. And taking a look at, previously this may have been a great way to fill a seat or fill a chair of, hiring someone for your team, but taking a look at other options like practice on demand, I think, kind of is driven by some of these market challenges and dynamics that have changed so much. And I think it's really important to, kind of open up and see that there are other ways to move forward. And, Sevi, what other comments would you add as kind of your key takeaway for today?
Yeah, I think it's just important to be proactive when it comes to planning. I think many hiring managers I speak with are when it comes to it's always a reaction, right? Someone leaves, so they need to find somebody, or we have this new project coming up that we need somebody yesterday. It's always we need someone yesterday. So I think having a proactive or yeah, being intentional when it comes to like cultivating those relationships, whether it's with the consulting firms or with recruiters or your network, just like knowing like who to reach out to is important. I spoke with a director of development last night, and he was telling me, it's like, yeah, every day I'm thinking, all right, how am I going to react when someone leaves? It's like it is a situation. So it's like, all right, if you have a partnership with Customize 365, you might not run into that. So it's
Right.
one of those things. But if you do run into that, you might think, all right, well, maybe who do I reach out to? So yeah, I think it's yeah, just cultivating proactive relationships. Yeah, that's like one takeaway.
For sure. Yeah, I used to work with an IT leader that loved to say, what happens if someone on your team wins the lottery tonight and doesn't come back to work tomorrow? Are you ready to take on the work that they had? Do you even understand what the work was, what they were doing? So I think building those relationships and always thinking about future proofing your business is so important, especially as you look at it from a small and mid-sized business perspective.
Definitely. Yeah. So future proofing your business, like what are you going to do? That is, I think, yeah, that's a great takeaway.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for your time, and thank you everybody who attended. I'm so grateful to have you here. Up on the screen, we have contact information for both of our speakers. So, if you want to reach out to Leah or Sevi, feel free to drop them an email, find them on LinkedIn. They would love to connect with you. Whatever questions you have, whatever commentary, we would love to hear it. So, with that, we'll wrap up today's live stream. Leah, Sevi, thank you for everything, for sharing your perspectives. This has been fantastic.